I just moved from Panama City to Boquete, and honestly, it went smoother than I expected. But there are a few things you need to know if you're planning to make this type of move. If you're new here, I'm Michelle, a nurse and expat living in Panama, and I share real, honest insights about life here so you can make informed decisions. I recently made the move from Panama City to Boquete, Panama, and I want to walk you through exactly how it went, from planning to packing to the actual move, and what it felt like arriving here. So we'll start with planning the move. Before the move, we had to figure out the logistics, what we were going to take, what we were going to leave, and how we were going to get everything from Panama City to Boquete to go with a moving company, Extreme Movers. Once we decided on the movers, we decided to box and pack a lot of the stuff ourselves. It was $1,600 to move our items from Panama City to Boquete, but this is the least expensive option. There were two other options, and they ran around 2,900 to 2,600 to make that move. So we went with Extreme Movers. The move itself was a 2 day process. The first day was focused on loading up everything that was boxed up. And then the second day was the drive and unloading the items. So once the movers arrived on the original day, they were efficient, they were organized, and handled everything with care, which made a big difference. They also packed up some of the things that we did not pack, like our TVs and things of that nature. Everything was loaded in a truck and then transported to Boquete and for the next day. So like I said, it was a 2 day process. Overall, the actual move went smoother than I expected, which was a relief. So as you can imagine, it took a lot of effort. Boquete is 6 hour, it's a 6 hour drive from Panama City. So we drove ahead of the truck so that we can be here once they arrived. Arriving in Boquete felt completely different from Panama City. Of course, the pace is much slower, it's quieter, and the environment is totally relaxed. But at the same time, you realize immediately that it's a different lifestyle. So, if you follow my channel, you have been seeing me do a lot of shorts about how I was wrong about the whole process of moving to Boquete. Things aren't as convenient, and you have to adjust pretty quickly to how things work here. There were a few things that surprised me when I got here. Of course, I knew that I was coming from an air conditioned environment to a non air conditioned environment. So at first, I thought it would be like cooler here, so it wouldn't really be that much of a difference. But it's actually not as cool as I thought. It is cooler here, but the temperatures in the daytime rise to about 84 degrees. So you have to adjust very quickly without air. But the goal is to change my lifestyle, so that's why I'm doing that. There are two other things that surprised me a little bit. Well, I kind of knew the pace of life is slower. Everything moves much slower here, even than in Panama City. And you really have to be patient about things. You don't have the same access to everything. It's not as convenient as the city. So you might have to travel out a little bit further or go to multiple areas to get what you need. So those were some of the things that I got wrong about. Being out here, but I also wanted to elaborate a little bit on my area. I am in Alto Boquete, which is not actually in up where way high in the mountain. That's Bajo, and that area is much cooler. It's like 70, 75 degrees, sometimes in the 60s. So like I had mentioned before, there are micro environments here. So I am actually 45 minutes from David, which is a little bit warmer. So I'm trending cooler, but I still have some warm time in where I live. So that's why the temperature is different. I know there's a lot of people who live in Boquete and they're like, oh, the temperature is 70 degrees or cooler. It also depends on where in Boquete you live, just to let you know. With that being said, Boquete has its own kind of peace that you just don't get in the city. It's quieter and more relaxed. And if that's what you're looking for, it can be a great move. I speak a lot about the things I got wrong, but I love it here. It's also important to understand it's not just a better version of Panama City, it is a completely different lifestyle. If you're thinking about moving to Boquete or anywhere in Panama, make sure you understand what daily life is really like and not just what you see online. And if you want more real insights on living in Panama, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I share everything I'm learning along the way.